So we all know that Mosab Hassan Yousef, the son of a Hamas co-founder, does not mince his words, to put it lightly. He has the most incredible story. He was literally raised in the belly of the beast, of anti-Semitic, jihadist, Islamist propaganda, fed everything about how terrible Israel is, and he has made a complete 180, and frankly, is a lot bolder in speaking the truth than many people within the pro-Israel camp. And here he is in a fascinating interview with Khan, which is an Israeli channel. I think it's on channel 11, where he talks about why he does what he does and explains some of the hard truths that we all need to come to terms with. Have a watch of his powerful, powerful interview.
What is the alternative? To put a big smile on my face and pretend like nothing is happening while the hostages are dying slowly? You know, look at me. I'm not that far also. I'm just skin on bone as well. You have to live it. You have to be with them in order to represent them correctly. And I'm not the savior of the Jews. I don't pose as that. I never thought I would become famous in Israel. 10 years I was working in secret. Nobody knew about my existence. Revealing my existence, I put a death sentence over my head. Now I cannot walk freely in the United States anywhere without being chased by fanatics and pro-Palestine terrorists. Europe is not safe. Even recently, I was in Southeast Asia, and Southeast Asia also is not safe. Wherever I go, people recognize my face. And I know it's just a matter of time before they're going to get me. And I have no regrets. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of dying. Everybody is going to die eventually. But we have lots of work to do first. If there is anything that I worry about in this war, I know that we can defeat Hamas. And I know that we can change the narrative and that we can change it to our favor. It's just a matter of time. But we need unity. Hamas is counting on division. The all anti-Semites and the all anti-Israel, they are counting on the collapse of the government. I'm not a big fan of politicians. It's not the time to change governments. It's not the time to let the government collapse, because this is a clear message that we have failed and Hamas is succeeding. It's not their business to interfere with the Israeli democratic process. People have the right to protest, then they have the right to go to elections and early elections if this is the only solution. But I don't recommend that. And I'm not advocating on his behalf, just so you know. I'm just speaking as an independent observer from the outside. The problem, Hamas is staying in power. This is a big problem because this means all our effort in Gaza went in vain. So we cannot win this war without guaranteeing that Hamas is going to be removed from power.
Who's controlling now Hamas, in your opinion?
Well, it's the military wing right now. Those are the ones who have the hostages. I think they have the final saying. And their fate is connected to the hostages. This is the problem. They know if they return the last hostage, they know that.
Yes.
It's over. They have nothing left. We need to be more patient, and we need actually to be resilient. When Hamas look at us and see that we are united and we are determined, that we are not going to give up because of this psychological warfare, that we are going to fight all the way, and no matter how it's gonna take. And the hostages are very important to us, but also the victory of the Jewish people on a global level, defeat will have deadly consequences on the Jewish people worldwide. This is my biggest concern at this moment. And defeat could happen only if we continue to be divided.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Thank you for understanding this. This is a priority right now. Okay, we have a lot more important job than just blaming each other and blaming ourselves. We really need to stop doing this. I know it's a Jewish way, and I appreciate it because this is what makes the Jewish people amazing, and this is why I trust that this nation is a very, very special nation. And this is why, with all the attack against me from pretty much everybody in the world, I don't mind it because I'm investing my energy in people that I love and I care about, and I feel their pain because there is no separation. I am Israel. And for us to score an absolute victory will put us in such a special place globally. But if we, God forbids, get defeated, or our spirit at least got defeated, then the world is going to come after us.
All the best. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. He really is a special soul. Some of the things he touched on there are just so powerful. First of all, the fact that his life has been utterly transformed as a result of speaking out for Israel and the Jewish people, and the fact that he has to have constant security. He thinks it's a matter of time before his life becomes endangered. It's just incredible to see someone devote their life like this to standing up for truth and justice and for Israel. There's no doubt in my mind he will be eternally rewarded. And one of the things he touched on at the end that I find so poignant that he's identified is this guilt complex and this self-criticism and self-blame that exists within the Jewish people. It's a serious problem. It's a malaise that exists. It's, in my mind, it's part of what shows, as he said, the greatness of the Jewish people. Because it shows they really are the adults in the room. They're the parents in the room, the ones that reflect on, hold on, am I behaving responsibly enough? Have I done anything to cause this? It's no surprise that God chose the Jewish people as his chosen nation, as his to be the firstborn among all of God's creations. Because the firstborn's role is to be responsible for bringing the values of the parent down to all of the children. The one that takes most of the responsibility. And the Jewish people who are so introspective, and look how they've shown so much resilience in fighting this war to such high Western moral standards, and yet they still face so much hatred and abuse, and still they're looking inwards and wondering, what have we done to make this come about? It's just crazy. But as Mosab rightly says, it's gone too far. It's going way too far, where it's actually crippling us and making us think that we are the ones to blame when we're not. I did a fascinating interview a while back with Rabbi Manis Friedman, and I asked him, as I was preparing for our JTV documentary about prophecy, biblical and Talmudic prophecy about the end times that we're in today. It talks about the times that it says at the end of history that the Ishmaelites, the descendants of Ishmael, the Arab world, the Islamic world, will oppress the nation of Israel. And it says no oppression will be as severe. And I said to him, really? I mean, there's been so much severity in terms of persecution throughout Jewish history. How bad is this going to be? Rabbi Friedman's view was that it's never been as oppressive in terms of the guilt. We've been persecuted throughout our history, but we always knew who we were. And we knew that this was wrong, unacceptable. Even when Jews were forcibly converted to Christianity, let's say in medieval Europe, the conversos, that was purely just to protect themselves. They know they didn't, they still practiced their Judaism in hiding. In fact, I learned recently that apparently there are some Christian sects in South America that still on Friday nights will go down and light 2 candles in their basement, and they don't know the origin of why they do it. Fascinating. But the point is, now there's never been a time before where we genuinely think we are guilty. We think we don't have the rights to this land. We think maybe we are colonizers, thieves. Maybe we did do something to provoke Hamas. Of course we didn't. But it's so crippling, this mindset. There's another beautiful prophecy found in the Talmud, in the Midrash, that says that when the Messiah comes, he will stand on the Temple Mount and he will say to the Jewish people, humble ones, the time of your redemption has arrived. And one of the insights that I learned about this is that, think about the words, humble ones. We really are so humble. I mean, to be facing the worst massacres in history, and then the worst ones since the greatest of all, the Holocaust, the worst of all. And then you say, well, what have we done to provoke this? So humble. but it's too humble. You're not seeing the reality of the situation, and it's holding you back from doing what you need to do. And it's time that actually perhaps the Jewish people have a drop less humility so they're able to fully come into their role, which requires them to acknowledge that their role has been and is to be a light to the nations and a voice for God's will, the Torah. Mosab really has pinned his colours to the mast of Israel, and it's high time that all of us do as well. Before we wrap up, I want to share something important with you. The entire anti-Israel movement is built on one central accusation, that in 1948 Israel stole the land, and ever since Palestinians have simply been resisting. But what if everything we've been told about this story is untrue? What if the real history of 1948 shows not Arabs being forced out, but Jews, while seeking peace, having to fight for their survival against a genocidal enemy that willed its destruction long before Israel's re-establishment? Have a watch of the trailer for our new, groundbreaking and essential documentary entitled What Really Happened in 1948. And if you want to see the full film, just click the link in the video description. In 1948, the world witnessed the rebirth of the Jewish state, the State of Israel. A moment celebrated as a miracle of survival and self-determination after centuries of persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust. Yet for decades, this event has been twisted into a narrative of theft and catastrophe, with the so-called Nakba portrayed as Israel's original sin, where Jews allegedly stole Arab land and displaced innocents in a premeditated act of ethnic cleansing. But what if this story is fundamentally inverted? What if the cause and effect are the other way around? Not Israel aggressively seizing territory and Arabs responding in self-defense, but Arabs, driven by deep-seated hatred, rejecting the Jews' legal and historical rights to live in their ancestral homeland and waging a genocidal war long before Israel's re-establishment. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the unvarnished truth about 1948, the centuries of pogroms and anti-Semitic violence that set the stage, the Arab leaders' explicit calls for extermination, and the defensive war Israel fought to secure its existence. We'll challenge the pervasive lies head-on, showing how Arab rejection of peace wasn't about creating a Palestinian state, but about denying Jews the right to live at all. From the Nazi-allied leader of the Arabs in Palestine, the Mufti al-Husseini, to the forgotten occupations by Jordan and Egypt, where no Palestinian state was even considered, this is the story of a conflict rooted not in displacement, but in whether the Jews deserve to live in their homeland. Join us as we debunk the myths with facts, confront the historical record fairly but firmly, and reveal why 1948 was not an act of aggression, but a righteous response to annihilation. This is what really happened in 1948. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.